Welcome, everyone. My name is Judith Tari, and I'll be your host tonight. We'll have 5 presentations, roughly 50 minutes each. We wanted to let you know that we do have a permission from parents to show the pictures and videos about the kids. But please do not use the materials presented here without the direct permission from the organizer. If you're interested in getting that permission, please reach out to Anastasia Sorokina.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, honorary speakers, distinguished guests. I warmly welcome you to the first FIDE Introductory Seminar Chess for children with autism spectrum disorder. Here you will get acquainted with 5 experts. As you've learned already, you've got several years experience working with and also teaching chess to the kids with autistic spectrum disorder. You'd see a quote in one of today's presentation which says, autism is not a disability. It is a special ability, but how to make use of it? And our answer today would be think of chess as a discipline that might not only give enjoyment, satisfaction and pleasure to these special kids, but also improve their physical and mental health. Yes, this is the very first seminar of this kind organized by FIDE, and I already see that it has raised your interest. While more than 190 participants from 70 countries have registered, and approximately 100 that I see have joined already the seminar at this point, and I hope that you would really leave this seminar with warmth in your heart, and also new knowledge and ideas in your pocket, and a strong dedication to launch local initiatives on your mind. If this will be the case, we from FIDE side would be willing to have further follow-up activities, allowing us to use our royal game as an efficient tool for empowerment, social integration, and psychosocial well-being of those members of society who need it the most. In this case, it's the kids with autistic spectrum disorder, always unique, totally intelligent, and sometimes mysterious. So once again, I would like to welcome you to this seminar and wish you a fruitful day so that we can turn this great initiative into a real practical project on the spot afterwards. Thank you very much.
First of all, I would like to thank our speakers who kindly supported our initiative and accept to share their unique experience with us today. I also would like to thank FIDE President Mr. Arkady Dvorkovich and FIDE Managing Director Dana Reznice-Ozoli, with whom I shared my idea and who supported me in all stages of the preparation for today's seminar. And thank you for all FIDE team who helped us to prepare this seminar, of course. I thank all of you who find time to join us today and who believe that it is a very important topic. For me, this idea was born 2 years ago in Belarus, but tell you the truth, at the time I didn't know much about autism spectrum disorder. Belarus Chess Federation, together with Belarus FIDE Chess Academy and our partners, started this project absolutely from zero. Zero means zero knowledge about how it's supposed to be. We consulted with a tutor from local NGOs who supported parents of kids who has autism spectrum, and we bought all necessary equipment and we started. And actually how about it was and what we reached, Natalia Popova, our speaker from Belarus, will tell you today later on. But from my side, I only could say that, tell you the truth, first week after we started this project, I can't really sleep. You know, I understood how it's important and how a lot of things we can do, you know, and step by step, by learning together with our kids and with their parents, we started to build up a system, and we are still in process. And for now, I absolutely clearly could say that it's very important project. And I believe we will contribute step by step all around the world. And today we are making one more step to infinity. And I hope this is step and experience of our speakers and guests will help us to build up this is very important project worldwide. Thank you one more time very much, and please feel free to write your questions and we will discuss it at the end of seminar today. Thank you.
The first presentation will be coming from Alla Mishanka. She's an educational specialist in special needs with special needs children. She's trained in behavior management system, crisis prevention and intervention, and early reading intervention. She has expertise in behavior shaping, assisting children with development disabilities, managing challenging behaviors, and using nonviolent intervention method. She's on the Toronto School Board, and she will be presenting her expertise on Introduction to Autism Spectrum Disorder.
Hello, everybody. My name is Alla Mishanka. I live in Canada and work at Toronto's Public School Board as a special needs assistant since 2004. I work with kids aged 4 to 21 with autism and other developmental disabilities. In my daily work, I provide for physical, behavioral, health and safety requirements of students with special needs through appropriate intervention and assistance, supporting and teaching the academic, communication, and functional living skills. I have more than 16 years of experience working with kids with autism and do really love my job. I believe that my experience will enable me today to help participants who are not familiar with autism to better understand the disorder. I would like to begin with the wonderful quote. Autism is not disability, it's a different ability. Autism spectrum disorder, we can call it later ASD, is a complex neurological and developmental disorder that begins in early life and affects how a person acts and interacts with others, communicates and learns. ASD affects the structure and function of the brain and nervous system. Because it affects development, ASD is called a developmental disorder. Autism can last throughout a person's life. People with this disorder have problems with communication and interaction with other people, restricted interest, and repetitive behaviors. Different people with autism can have different symptoms. For this reason, autism is known as a spectrum disorder, which means that there is a range of similar features in different people with the disorder. Because autism is a spectrum disorder, each person with autism has a different set of strengths and challenges. The way in which people with autism learn, think, and problem solve can range from highly skilled to severely challenged. Some people with ASD may require significant support in their daily lives, while others may need less support and in some cases live entirely independent. Now we'll talk about statistics. I would like to say that I have spent a lot of time collecting data about autism rate around the world, and it wasn't easy. I did know about the rate of autism prevalence in Canada and US, but I found out that the tracking the rates of autism around the world is a bit of a challenge. This is because many nations do not track or report their autism rates. There are also no specific uniform criteria for assessing autism. Even if there were, there are many nations that do not have the resources to conduct assessment. According to the World Health Organization, there's estimated that worldwide, 1 in 160 children has an ASD. This estimate represents the average figure. Some well-controlled studies have, however, reported figures that are greatly higher. The prevalence of ASD in many low and middle-income countries is so far unknown. Based on epidemiological studies conducted over the past 50 years, the prevalence of ASD appears to be increasing globally. There are many possible explanations for this apparent increase, including improved awareness, expansion of diagnostic criteria, better diagnostic tools, and improved reporting. Now I will go over more detailed information about autism rates in Canada and USA. The most recent report estimates that 1 in 54 children have autism in the United States, indicating a 178% increase in autism prevalence since 2000, when autism prevalence was 1 in 150. 1 in 34 boys and 1 in 44 girls identified with autism. 218 report of the National Autism Spectrum Disorder Surveillance System estimated that in Canada, 1 in 66 children have been diagnosed with autism, 1 in 42 boys, and 1 in 165 girls. Boys are 4 times more likely to be diagnosed with autism than girls. More children will still be diagnosed after age of 4, though autism can be reliably diagnosed as early as age 2. An estimated 40% of people with autism are nonverbal. 31% have an intellectual disabilities. Autism affects all ethnic and socioeconomic groups. Minority groups tend to be diagnosed later and less often. The next slides I will present to you will show the data I was able to collect. The first slide shows you the countries with the highest rates of autism. And as we see, Hong Kong is the country with the highest rates. 1 in 27 kids were diagnosed with autism. And next slide will show you the countries with the lowest autism rates. And Poland is the country with the lowest rate. It's 1 child from 3,333. There are no detailed statistics about autism in Russia. According to Ministry of Health in 2018, more than 31,000 kids were diagnosed with autism. When I began my career in 2004, prevalence in Canada was 1 in 165, and now it's 1 in 66. This is a large increase. Let's talk a little about the treatment and early interventions. Is there a cure for autism? Unfortunately, there is currently no one standard treatment for autism, but there are many ways to help minimize the symptoms and maximize abilities. People who have ASD have the best chance of using all their abilities and skills if they receive appropriate therapies and interventions. Research shows that early diagnosis and intervention for autism are more likely to have major long-term positive effects on symptoms and later skills. Early interventions not only give children the best start possible, but also the best chance of developing to their full potential. With early intervention, some children with autism make so much progress that they are no longer on the autism spectrum when they are older. My next segment is about autism and ADHD, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. What is the difference between ADHD and autism? As I said before, autism is a spectrum disorder, and more than half of individuals who have been diagnosed with autism also have ADHD, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. I will try to explain the difference between ADHD and autism. When a school-age child can focus on tasks or in school, parents may think their child has ADHD. Difficulty concentrating on homework, fidgeting, and difficulty sitting still, lack of ability to make or maintain eye contact, all of these are symptoms of ADHD. ADHD is a common neurodevelopmental disorder often found in children. Approximately 9.4% of US children between the ages of 2 and 17 have been diagnosed with ADHD. In the earliest stages, it is not unusual for ADHD and ASD to be mistaken for each other. Children with either condition may experience trouble communicating and focusing. Also, there are some similarities. There are still 2 different conditions. And as you see on the slide, there are comparison of the 2 disorders. There is a reason why symptoms of ADHD and ASD can be difficult to tell the difference from one another. Both can occur at the same time. ADHD affects an estimated 30 to 61% of children with autism. While the primary components of ADHD and ASD are different, some overlap exists between the two. For example, both can cause social challenges. For children with ADHD, the root causes may include inattention and inability to organize their thoughts or impulsivity. For autistic children, the reasons are often different, such as not understanding nonverbal communication or delays in language skills. For ADHD, there's a large amount of evidence in favor of using medication. For autism alone, some medicines may help with specific facets, such as obsessive behavior, but there is no medication approved for treatment of underlying condition. Now I would like to speak about needs of kids with autism. Generally, students with autism have a rigid pattern of thinking. Their tendency to follow rules and routines often cause problems for adaptive functioning, including daily living skills, communication, and social interactions. Students may insist upon the same routine or environment and be upset or even have emotional meltdown if the sameness is broken by unexpected changes or people. For example, I had a student who would usually come to school in a good mood and happy. She was nonverbal and communicated with using the PECS, picture exchange communication. The day I'm talking about was different. As soon as she arrived in school, she started to cry and scream. We couldn't figure out what happened. We called her mom and found out that in the car on the way to school, mom turned on the new song, not the usual song they listen to every day. However, this characteristic of autism can be applied in a positive way. It is widely known that many individuals with autism benefit from structured and predictable environments in which they understand the rules and routines. Students with autism are more likely to engage in activities in those situations. For example, highly structured programs show how consistent application of rules and routines helps students learning. Rules and routines must be established for a student to follow. Many children with autism have unique sensory needs and may be hypersensitive or hypersensitive to specific sensory experiences, leading them to seek out or avoid those sensations. These sensory preferences manifest in anxiety and meltdowns, repetitive motions, and other atypical behaviors. Up to 90% of children diagnosed with autism also have sensory processing disorder. Sensory processing disorder adds difficulty to the lives of children with autism. Children may become easily overwhelmed by common signs or act indifferent to danger and pain. Here are 6 main types of sensory needs: movement, sight, sound, touch, taste and smell, and body awareness. Just an example from my experience. One of my students would grab my head and sniff my hair. I needed to teach him to replace this behavior. He can take scented Play-Doh and he would smell it instead of grabbing my hair. In order to meet the needs of a child with autism, we must understand child's unique sensory preferences. In conclusion, we are here today to discuss if chess is a suitable sport for children with autism. Some sports can be challenging for kids with ASD. That is why it's important to help children choose sports they are likely to enjoy and excel at. Autism creates specific challenges when it comes to sports, but it also opens some exciting possibilities. While there are always exceptions to the rule, cooperative team sports such as soccer, basketball, lacrosse, and hockey may be especially tough for children with autism. That is because coordination, team sports that require ball or puck handling, also require high level of strength and coordination. Autism often goes along with the lower muscle tone and problems with coordination. As a result, autistic children may have a tough time playing well. Environment. Team sports are often played in environments that are very hot, cold, loud, or bright. Most children with autism have sensory challenges that make loud noise, bright lights, and temperature extremes difficult to handle. The outcome can be a very unhappy or even uncooperative child. Social communication. Teams are all about social communication, and playing team sports requires advanced social communication skills. Autism is a disorder in which those skills are compromised. It can be tough for autistic kids to fit into a team, communicate well with the team members, or predict what another team member is likely to do. But not every sport requires high-level communication and cooperation and could be a great match for children with autism. Chess is definitely one of them. These are some of many benefits of engaging autistic kids in chess activities. Ability to provide structure, predictable, and safe environment. Ability to meet individual and unique sensory needs of a child. Allows children with autism to participate in activities without social interaction that may cause stress. Improves physical and mental health. Provides opportunities for enjoyment, as well as increased self-confidence and motivation. Promotes inclusion and quality of life. Increased self-esteem and confidence. Gives children the opportunity to make their own choices. Enable kids with autism to become involved and feel like a part of their community. Provide the opportunity to gain and develop new contacts and friends. Reduce reliance on parents and other adults. Increase independence, which leads to increased opportunities. Teaching an autistic child is a difficult process. Each child with autism has different, unique needs, and we must accommodate them to help child to succeed. We can measure this success. For some kids with autism and their parents and trainers, success would be the ability to play a game. For others, the ability to recognize chess pieces. Because I also work as a respite worker, the person who provides care and gives a break to parents with special needs kids, takes the kids to the different activities. I can tell you how amazing the parents of those kids are, how much effort and dedication they put in their children's development. I spoke with parents of the kids I work with about our project, and all of them were very interested and excited. And based on my 16 years of experience working in special needs program, I firmly believe that kids with autism would highly benefit from learning to play chess. I appreciate you inviting me to speak today. It had been a great opportunity to collaborate with such an international audience. Thank you very much.
It was a great introduction to our seminar about the autism spectrum disorder. And so let's move forward. Our next presenters are Dr. Lilith Karapetyan and Dr. Anna Charchian. And they are both researchers at the Chess Research Institute at ASPU. Anna is a lecturer at the Chair of Special Pedagogy and Psychology. She's also a previous faculty of the Special Education of ASPU. She has experience in speech therapy, over 30 articles published, and her dissertation was focusing on dysgraphia and dyslexia of children with intellectual disabilities and their methods and means to correct it. Dr. Lilith Karapetyan, she's a lecturer at ASPU, and she's a nationally recognized trainer and psychologist. And she's also an author and co-author of over 17 articles, 3 manuals, and 3 textbook chapters.
Hello, everyone. Dear participants of the first FIDE Introductory Seminar on Chess for Children with Autistic Spectrum Disorder. We are really very honored to present to you the Armenian experience of chess lessons with autistic spectrum disorder. Chess was implemented as a school subject in 2011 in the second, third, and fourth grades in all mainstream schools in Armenia. In a couple of years, all mainstream schools will provide education to all children, including with ASD. That's why it's a prompt important to adjust all school lessons to all students' needs. In the Armenian State Pedagogical University, Chess Research Institute was established in 2011, and 4 years later, an inclusive education team began working here. So since 2015, this team has been conducting studies on the effectiveness of chess lessons for children with special educational needs, including autistic spectrum disorder. As a chess teachers were their main teachers, and they could observe the students with ASD in all lessons, they outlined the changes in the below mentioned spheres during all lessons when the students started being involved in the chess lessons. According to them, chess has positive effect on the intellectual abilities, development of the cognitive process, abstract analytical, logical, critical, and creative thinking, prediction, communication. It trains memory, perception, thinking if it doesn't have developing effect. Positively influences the self-analysis, self-regulation of behavior. On this basis, the first studies started in 2015 and 16, and they were implementation of an assessment and developing experiment with the following research objective. In the first stage, the aim was to reveal the role of chess in regulation of behavior, development of cognitive process of students with special educational needs, study the behavioral specification of children with special educational needs, including autism, during the chess lessons, discover the possibilities to regulate the behavior of the children through chess. For that aim, observation, video analysis, content analysis, and spatial methods to teach children for the purpose of behavioral regulation of children with special educational needs, like cooperative methods of projects, mental mapping, playing, some therapeutic threat therapy, dose therapy, and rewarding methods were applied. It was found out that the use of special psychological pedagogical methods allowed to regulate the behavior and develop the cognitive processes of children with special educational needs, including autistic spectrum disorder. In the second stage of the studies, to implement the developing experiment, developing games and tasks in the frames of chess lessons were elaborated to develop the speech and other cognitive processes and regulate the behavior of these children. The study showed the effectiveness of special psychological pedagogical methods. These methods are also very effective in development of spatial orientation and acquisition with the chess pieces and steps. Based on the work done during chess lessons with autistic spectrum disorder, with children with autistic spectrum disorder, the following methods and exercises are suggested. Time and distance line. It is effective in development of concept of time, understanding of chronological sequences, visual perception of a problem, developing understanding of planning. In this method, it is useful to write short impressions, objects, actions, and emotions on the pictures of the done work and then present them. Cognitive psychologist Gordon Bauer said that the memory is determined by emotional impressions. Instrumental intervention is effective to turn the undesirable behavior into desirable. The following instruments are used: behavior assessment, positive behavioral reinforcement in collaboration with a specialist to use the same instructions and approaches. When using this method, the students should see and feel positive attitude, positive emotions, promotion of positive behavior. The method of small scenarios. The use of this method is more aimed at regulation of the aggressive behavior, development of emotional and cognitive spheres, increase of self-esteem. In fact, fully completion of any action is a difficult task for children with autistic spectrum disorder, but preparation of the learning material and teaching them in small proportion of scenarios will make it easy to acquire it. Methods of augmentative and alternative communication system. This will give opportunity to acquire knowledge, communicate with peers and adults, express themselves, be in ongoing connection with others, and overcome the difficulty of communication. Pedagogy of a game. It is used to actively involve students in the lesson process to boost the creative activity using different means: words, sound, gestures, drawing, touch. It allows to freely express emotions, communicate verbally and non-verbally, emotionally, be in atmosphere of trust and mutual understanding, cooperate together, not to compete, cooperate in groups, to better know each other, learn new games in spite of age and developmental specifications. Using this method, one should begin the topic creatively as a game, conduct the lesson as a role game, and at the end summarize the outcomes. It promotes curiosity and motivates. Sound letter exercise. Students should close their eyes and say words starting with that sound or letter, like with T, table, treble, teacher, triangle. In this way, the student may say a chess piece and name facts, actions related to it. The student wins who says more correct answers. And the last one we suggest, randomly correct. Randomly just take a chess piece and show its all steps. Make different sentences during each step. Gradually, the sentences can become more and more complex if this exercise is successful. Autistic spectrum disorder begins in childhood and tends to persist into adolescence and adulthood. Because of special characteristics children with autistic spectrum disorder have, like difficulties in communication, verbal and non-verbal, with other children and adults in all spheres of life based on social interests, lack of interest or special interests, insistence of sameness, sensory processing issues, and as the number of children grow every year, as our previous speaker presented in details, the studies on how chess affects on the mental development, communication, and other spheres of children with autistic spectrum disorder should continue. Always talking about work with students with autistic spectrum disorder, I recall words seen on the wall of one of schools for students with ASD in one of schools in US, which has become a motto for me. It said, if you have seen a child with autism, you have seen only a child with autism. So all above mentioned and the next method that my colleague will now continue to speak about will have to be specified for any individual student with autistic spectrum disorder. Anna, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Dear participants, now I will present you some games and exercise for autistic children, which was used. In the course of our research, with the help of chess games and drills, we tried to contribute to the enhancement of attention, memory, perception, vision, speech, senses among the children with autism. For this purpose, the following games drill were employed. For developing attention in accordance with the Schulte table method, the child was asked to find visually and with the help of finger, pen, pencils, and mark successively the numbers from 1 to 25. Thus, in our case, we asked the children with autism to complete the following tasks. To look at the board during 35-40 seconds, on average 20 seconds, and to remove from the board, for instance, only the black pawns or the rooks. Then, in order to make the task more complicated, we suggest the children that they should find and mark on the Schulte table in colors and colors as well the number that we mentioned. After some attempts, we ask the children, after having looks at the board for 25-30 seconds, to take one black knight and two white pawns, and then to take from the board only the queen or the black square and the king on the white square. I'm sorry. For developing memory in children with autism, we ask them to watch and memorize the location of dots and their arrangement. Later on, they were asked about the number of the dots in the first square and their arrangement within the square, and then to suggesting school children looking attentively at certain arrangement of the pieces on board for 30 or 35 seconds on and then reproducing the same arrangement on the empty board, making use of the information memorized. The aim is to make them reproduce the same arrangement. For developing the sensory perception among the students with autism, we ask them to touch different objects with different shapes. A ball, dominoes, dikis, grouped in a set, trying to guess and then taking them out of the set on one by one. In order the boots, the sensory perception, we tried to make use of a game with the magic box with chess pieces and different size, big and small. We suggested the participants, without looking into the box, touching the pieces inside it, try to guess the piece that they are touching. In order to make the assessment more complicated, we ask the children to look for and find the precise pieces that we mentioned, the rook and knight and king. Now you can watch a small video, please.
Sorry, it doesn't allow now to. Okay, let's continue.
Maybe I will continue. For the sake of deep perception and development of logic, we may be using some examples from fire tales. The children are asked to take their time, about 1 or 2 minutes, and continue the idea and to correct the wrong formulation of the idea. We suggest children to, for example, continue and complete the idea. On the slide, you can see some examples. Correct the wrong formulation of idea. Finish or complete the following idea on chess, and correct the wrong formulation and word order mistakes in the following ideas. For boosting imagination, we suggest them taking their time for about 15-20 seconds, watching series of incomplete images of the objects familiar to them, then to make use of a pencil to complete and finish the images. A similar task was assigned to complete by children, first watching the complete images of chess pieces, and then during 30-40 seconds try to guess the pieces shown and name them. In order to develop the space conceptions and perceptions, the children with autism were asked to show during 25-35 seconds following our instruction where the ball is located, behind what, next to which object, on which, in front of which it is located. This method was utilized also in order to develop the correct orientation within the space of chess and for the development of relevant perception skills related to self-orientation and space orientation. For instance, the children were asked to place themselves on a chess pattern surface and the square they prefer. Then they are asked to answer which chess piece the square they stand on corresponds to, which piece he image himself to be at moment and on which field, grade or area he thinks that he is located at the moment. The aim of this above mentioned assignment and the game drills is promote the speech, color, number, sensory, and space perception, in particular perceiving the normative aspect on the speech, expanding the children's vocabulary and the semantic field of perception, developing their mental abilities and the cause-reason-based logic of their speech, the analytic and synthetic processes, right time and space self-orientation skills, improving thus the self-esteem and contributing to the formation of balanced conduct and improved emotional volitional realm. Thus, the positive influence of chess on the development of the cognitive processes among the school children involved in the research is introduced below. Thank you.
Thank you, Anna. Here are some pictures from lessons, how children with autism participate in chess lessons, like at the desk, here or here, a child with autism plays chess with his peer. Or here, you can see how children with special educational needs, specifically with autism here, is during the chess lesson. So be sure that your work with a student with autistic spectrum disorder will be successful. The work with these students will allow to always look for new methods appropriate for any individual child. The work with students with ASD considers close collaboration with other specialists and their parents. The presented examples of methods and exercises will promote the development of cognitive processes of students with ASD, perception, memory, attention, thinking, imagination, volitional quality, verbal and non-verbal communication skills, fine motor skills, curiosity towards the activity that is done, the ability to observe, orientation and special concepts, increase of self-esteem, and behavior regulation. Thank you for organization of this seminar, and thank you to all participants to hear us.
Let's move forward. Our next presenter is Natalia Popova. She's a WIM and the FIDE trainer and the FIDE Academy in Belarus. She's also the leader of a 2-year project teaching chess to children with autism spectrum disorder, the Wing of Happiness.
Thank you very much. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. My name is Natalia Popova. I am from Belarus, the city of Minsk. I am a Women's International Master, FIDE trainer, and chess trainer in the Wings of Happiness project for children for autism spectrum disorder. Now I will tell you about this project and my experience of working with children with autism spectrum disorder. It was decided to create 4 groups, each with 4 children. The duration of lesson is 50 minutes, approximately 25 minutes for the first part, 5 minutes for a break, and 20 minutes for the second part. Classes are held once a week. The selection criteria for children were as follows: understanding of speech. If the child is nonverbal, availability of alternative communication, absence of unsafe behavior, such as running away, piccatism, aggression, and self-aggression. Ability to ask, age from 6 to 12 years old. Also, representatives of the project visited my classes, which I conducted with young children, watched the program, the chess program in which I am engaged. After discussing the course of the lesson, its dynamics, variability of tasks and activities, the structure of the chess program, according to which classes are held, it was decided to take the program for 5-year-old children as a basis and also approve me as a coach. But I have never dealt with children with autism spectrum disorder, never had any experience of communicating with them in ordinary life, and generally heard little about it. Realizing the responsibility that I take on this project, I read several articles about autism, watched videos, and came to some conclusions at that time. Use simplified chess curriculum. Change your tone of speech. Make sentence shorter. Pause more often. Use different memorization techniques: visual, auditory, body movements, physical exercises. Work with individual child is more important than whole class lectures. Make classes dynamic, engaging, non-boring.
So in this video, it will be video 1, the coach discusses the arrangement on the chessboard with a student, explains what a stalemate is and how it is scored.
Ходить есть куда? Пешка может ходить? Шаха нет, хода нет. Что это? Нет. Шаха нет и хода нет. Что это у нас? Пат. Пат это что? Ничья. Сколько очков получаем? 1. Нет. 0. Половинку тебе, половинку мне. Хорошо. Шах есть? Нет.
Next slide, please. Each child can sit at their own table and have their own board and pieces. Black and white floorboard with pieces in the sitting area is also available to use. Just a minute, please. Sorry. Also, much attention was paid to the equipment of the classroom for classes with children with autism spectrum disorder. Demonstration board and pieces were made at my request in a special color scheme. The squares on the board are white and dark gray. The pieces are white and black with contrasting edging so as not to merge with the squares. And let's continue about classroom equipment. Each child can sit at their own table and have their own board and pieces. Black and white floorboard with pieces in the sitting area is also available to use. A timer for each child on the table so that he can see how much time is left until the end of the lesson. This was a distraction for the kids, currently only on the teacher's desk, smiley indicating the break.
Раз и еще раз.
So in this second video, you can see a happy student jumping on a football chair.
Okay, football chairs for every child. Looking ahead, I will say about the football chairs. One boy immediately pressed at football chair with a pencil. Therefore, I had to replace it with an ordinary chair. In the course of the next classes, it was decided to replace all the football chairs with ordinary ones, since it was inconvenient for someone to sit on them. Someone jumped on them so that it was difficult to conduct classes. Football chairs became a reward and were used at breaks as a relaxation for children. Soft pillow chairs for resting children. Headphones for children if they needed. Trainer equipment, printer, card laminator for support cards, stationery, paper, pencils, etc. The walls in the classroom were white with pictures of children playing chess on one of the walls. The blinds on the window are white and black. So the project started in 2019 on November 16. Now it's hard for me to remember the exact sequence for our first day, but I'll try. Before the start of the initial opening of the project, the children entered the classroom and began to get used to it. They got to know me, acclimated to the classroom, could touch anything. Since the initial opening took place, the children got small gifts and the lesson began in the first group. After eliminating the errors with the timers and football chairs, which I talked about earlier, the chess lesson itself began directly. Where did I decide to start? Of course, my name is Natalia, I'm a trainer, and we will be engaged in chess. What is chess? What games do you know that you love to play? Chess is a game too. Introduce chessboard, squares, and colors. What is a chess square and what color does it appear on a chessboard? Pay attention that all light squares on the chessboard are called white. Dark squares are called black, because on the table of each child there was a wooden board on which the squares were light yellow and dark brown. I use exercises for children to distinguish between white squares and black ones. Which squares I show on the big board, white or black? Show a white square on your board, please. Show a black square on your chessboard. Introduce the chess lines on the board, horizontal, vertical, and diagonal lines. What is a horizontal line? When explaining, I use a support card. Pronounce this word. Ask to read the word on the card. Show a horizontal line on the demonstration board. Ask the children to show a horizontal line on their board. I use exercises to understand what a horizontal line is. Show the first horizontal line on your board, please. Show me the third, etc. What horizontal line I show on the demonstration board? Paint the horizontal line on paper. Note that the squares alternate. I use active exercises to understand what a horizontal line is. Show your hands a horizontal line. Spread them apart. Find a horizontal line in the classroom. Walk your feet horizontally on the floorboard. We walk with the vertical line and diagonal in the same way. I use physical exercises to remember what the vertical line is. Raise your arms up and stretch as high as possible. Also, I use physical exercises to memorize what a diagonal is. We fly on an airplane. The right hand is raised at an angle up. The left hand is lowered at an angle down. Then we change hands. I use physical exercises to memorize what the horizontal, vertical, and diagonal lines are. Which line I show. For example, I spread my arms out to the sides, and the children have to say that this is a horizontal line. If the children are unable to name the line, I begin to suggest the word by syllable. Horizontal. Someone earlier, someone later picks it up and pronounces it. At this point, you can show a hint using a support card on which the word horizontal is written. Then vice versa. I name the line and they show it. At the same time, I show the support card. This is how we moved at first. With the help of support cards, work on a demonstration board, individual work on their boards and on paper. We consolidated knowledge through speaking, physical exercises.
Хорошо, Андрюш, если проиграл партию...
So this slide will feature two videos. In the first one, the coach explains different kinds of endings in a chess game, also discusses scoring principles with the students, and they discuss it all in a playful manner with special attention to the draw. In the second video, the coach and the students discuss various moves and arrive at a checkmate, which is also explained in a logical and simple manner.
Сколько очков получишь? 0. 0. Хорошо. А если ничья? Что будем делать? Сколько очков? 9. Ну как? Выиграл 1, проиграл 0. 4. Ничья – это посерединке. Полочка. 4. И записывается это вот так вот. Половинка тебе дашь, половинка мне. Это моя половинка. Да. Если ничья, половинка тебе, Андрей, вот такая половинка у нас, половинка мне. Да, победила дружба у нас. Да, смотри, если ничья в партии, вот так обозначается. Половинка очка тебе, вот, видишь, половинка тебе, а половинка мне.
Половина мне.
Половина папе, если ты с папой играл.
А да? Мне можно такие чипсы?
Я вам потом все дам, подождите. Вот ваши вкусняшки лежат. Вот ваши. Итак, Ничья – это половинка тебе и половинка мне.
As you can see, most of the video is about the concept of a draw, and the coach discusses it with each student separately, going one by one, saying that each of the participants gets half a score.
На F7? Нет. А на D8? Кто здесь не пускает? Белая фигурка какая, посмотри. Вот посмотри, пешка наискосок, да? А сюда кто? Какая белая фигура? Не гадай. Слон. Слон вот так вот у нас стреляет. Нет, кто сюда не пускает короля?
Сюда нельзя.
Пешка наискосок, да? Шах есть, хода нет. Что это? Нет. Шах есть, хода нет. Это мат.
Next slide. Okay, I forgot to mention one point that was voiced to me before starting classes. My task is to teach chess to children, not to correct their behavior. But it is not possible for a coach to abstract from the behavior of children. Therefore, I studied together with them what can and cannot be done. Also, the coach should contact the parents to explain what the children did in the classroom and what should be done at home, how to consolidate the knowledge gained, what to look for when doing homework.
So in the next two videos, you will see the following. In the first video, the student sets up an arrangement according to printed instructions, and the next video features individual work with the student. The coach draws the student's attention to the chessboard. They discuss possible moves and their consequences.
Да, я готов. А у тебя уже что?
Смотрим на короля. Есть ему шаг? Близко не подходите к доске. Вот все фигурки посмотрел. Король, ферзь. Дальше что у нас? Король.
Пешка.
Пешка. Да? Смотрим на короля. Шах есть ему?
Надо
Напал на короля?
подсказывать.
Никто не напал, да? Шаха нет. Нет, да? Смотрим, ход королем есть? Вот сюда может король пойти? Кто мешает здесь? Ферзь, хорошо, сюда. Ферзь, кто сюда? Тоже ферзь. Так, королем хода нет. Чем-нибудь еще черные могут пойти? Посмотри на всю доску. Черные фигурки есть? О, пешка может ходить, правильно? Походи пешкой. Хорошо. Итак, шаха не было, но ход есть. Значит, что у нас? Нет пата.
Нет.
Играем дальше.
Next slide, please. In March 2020, classes were practically interrupted due to the coronavirus. And in September 2020, I had to start everything from the beginning. What conclusion can be drawn at the moment? Now, 15 students are engaged in chess, 4 groups. All kids know the pieces, and most of them know how they move. All kids know the chess notation and can set up a position on the demo board from a printed one. 6 children are guided by what is check, checkmate, stalemate, and passant castling. They can play a game deliberately. They want to checkmate in order to win it. 9 children can play the game, but do not understand the purpose of the game. They simply move and rearrange the pieces mechanically. In such a short time, it is already a great success with all kids. Speed and depth of understanding will vary child to child. What will I do next? Work and think. How to convey information to children. How to simplify components. Ideas that can be reinforced with physical exercises. How to teach nonverbal children. Thank you very much for your attention.
Our next presenter is Dr. Sandra Maria Guyso from Brazil. She has a PhD in psychology and a master in science in biology and education. She studies several subjects that involve development of kids and the game of chess, and the game of chess in daily life situations, such as with chess with Down syndrome, chess with prisoners, and chess with autistic children, and how they handle these everyday life.
Hello, everyone. I am honored to participate in the seminar and to promote discussions involving autism and chess. Now, I'm going to present a study on chess and autism. The interest by this study is because there are some questions regarding the use games for children with autism. In this research, we investigate the use of the chess game for an autistic child who attends a regular school and a special school as well, APAE. The child had autism. The child is a student. The child is 9 years old. Understanding the study, the child and chess. The child who took part in this study was exposed to the game of chess from the first grade of elementary school. Thus, the chess game has been practiced for 2.5 years with 50-minute weekly class in ordinary school and 50-minute weekly lessons at the APAE. The child attends the APAE every Wednesday for a period of 4 hours in the regular school, 4.5 hours daily. The regular school offers a 50-minute chess lesson once a week. The study was carried out at the APAE, Parents and Friends Association of Exceptional People, entity found in every Brazilian state, which offers activities and special assistance for those people with different ages and mentally impaired. APAE
So we can see
uma escola especial
this really special here
em todo o Brasil.
In all our country, in all Brazil.
Em Santa Maria de Jetibá,
in Santa Maria de Jetibá, Espírito Santo, state of Brazil,
a colonização é pomerana.
The colonization is from the German people.
A segunda língua é o pomerano.
And the second language most spoken in this dialect from German called Pomeran.
Em razão disso, a escola tem características alemãs.
That's why we have a lot of architecture remaining the French and German people.
Mas o importante
But the important part is
é que a PAI, a escola especial, é igual em todo o Brasil, em
The
todos os
APA
estados brasileiros.
is the same and it has the same function in all of our states here in Brazil.
The APAI in Santa Maria de Jetibá assists different people mentally impaired from the ages 0 to 56. These people take part in several activities, and the chess is one of them. The regular school. The regular school in Brazil, where the student attends, serves a clientele need in several aspects, with demands a joint effort to address in a satisfactory manner to needs of the local community. The study methodology. Some semi-structured interview with the Association of Parents and Friends of Santa Maria de Jetibá, Espírito Santo State, APAE, which assists the students, pedagogy, AEE teachers, chess teachers. AEE teachers means special teachers. In regular schools, we carry out a semi-structured interview with the teacher and the chess teacher. We also watched the chess lessons offered in regular school where the child is studying, and chess classes offered at APAE. The intervention took place via a story involving the game of chess in the daily life of the children in question. Giovana. Aqui está o tabuleiro de xadrez adaptado.
We can see here an adapted chessboard for autistic child.
De lado, a escola regular da criança.
We can see
Do outro,
here
a APAI.
The APAI on the right side and the regular school on the right side.
Foi feita a adaptação para que a criança se sentisse segura utilizando tabuleiro.
The adaptation was made so the children could feel more comfortable with the chessboard.
Em que ela reconhecesse a escola regular e também a escola especial em que ela frequenta.
So they could see and recognize the regular school that she was studying in and also the APEA.
O importante aqui é que as adaptações foram feitas junto com a criança.
The most important thing here is the adaptations that were made were done literally with the children, so they could see it and could feel it.
A escola, a maquete, o prédio, tudo foi feito com a criança.
The school, the chessboard, and also the tiny things there were made with the kid.
Explicando cada dos processos.
And in this moment, they were explaining each one of the process there.
Aqui é possível ver em outros ângulos.
Here we can see in some other angles as well. Another one.
Nessa foto, pode-se ver a criança jogando xadrez com uma outra criança sem autismo.
We can see here in this picture a kid, an autistic kid, playing with a kid non-autistic.
A criança com a touca é a criança autista.
The kid with a beanie is the autistic kid.
The methodology adapted to provide the learning process. Blocking their vision was the method used to increase their confidence and also to recognize the chess pieces. Aqui é importante falar que eu acredito que para jogar o xadrez vai muito além do jogo. As pessoas precisam ser preparadas para isso.
Here, I can understand that to play chess, it's not just playing by itself. People need to understand the process and feel it, and especially understand it.
E no caso específico das pessoas com algum distúrbio,
And with disabled kids, by saying that,
é importante trabalhar a segurança antes de iniciar o jogo, ou seja, ela precisa estar segura.
we need to work with this sense of security. The kid needs to feel secure with the method and the process.
Então, essa metodologia foi utilizada para que fendamos os olhos, fizemos um passeio pela área externa da escola especial e depois também com os olhos vendados, eles tocavam as peças de xadrez antes de começar a jogar.
So we did this moment where we blocked their vision and they could have the opportunity to walk through the school and feel the pieces and get in touch with it, and every single person on the unit had the opportunity to do it.
Então, dessa forma, existe toda uma preparação dessas pessoas para que, então, depois elas comecem a jogar o xadrez.
So we had this moment to prepare them, and every single one of them had this moment, and it's really important so they could play it after it.
The giant chess pieces spread through the garden were intended to give them the opportunity to find and recognize them as well. Aqui foi uma outra técnica, uma outra metodologia utilizada com as peças gigantes. Também na escola especial, do lado externo da escola, em que as crianças tinham contato com as peças gigantes de xadrez.
In the backyard, we also did this moment where the kids could touch it, and also in this another environment, which is another important thing, so the kids could get in touch with it.
The pieces placed on their heads are used to call one's attentions and to represent the pieces while playing with the human as the chess pieces. Aqui foi uma outra metodologia utilizada em que as peças ficavam na cabeça e uma pessoa reconhecia na cabeça da outra a peça. E aí foi feito isso com todas as crianças e adultos da escola especial.
There's another process of recognition. They would put the piece, a drawing of it, and then tie it in their forehead so the other kid could see it and recognize it.
É importante falar aqui que todas as pessoas que participaram do estudo autorizaram o uso da imagem no estudo.
It's important to point out that every single person that participated in gave us the specific authorization to use their image and those pictures.
Results. Children understand the movements of the pieces and practice moves which are considered efficient. No need for major adaptations in his academic life. Game of chess is an important tool for the autistic child cognitive development. The importance of this chess project, the person who practices, the family, the society. The game The chess game is an important social tool in one's life, especially for those mentally impaired, because it stimulates the think and enables the interaction through the games and its rules. Changes notes in the participants. Rules, attention, respect, discipline. The people mentally impaired showed difficulties in understanding the rules for social life. The study concluded that chess game teaches that the rules which are used in the game can be used in the society. Thus, chess people are able to have more success in the relationships established with family members and the society as well. O importante aqui é falar que o autismo, né, o estudo, ele quis mostrar isso, que a criança com autismo, ela não ela é apenas diferente, como eu, como vocês. Então, nós temos habilidades que precisam ser trabalhadas.
This study is here to show us that the autistic kid is not abnormal. They're just different. And we have abilities that we need to work on. And the same way the autistic kids have another abilities that need to be worked on.
E nós, pesquisadores, hoje buscamos ferramentas que possam potencializar as habilidades.
And we researchers are looking for new tools so we can make these abilities to be stronger.
E o xadrez é uma delas, é uma dessas ferramentas que nós podemos utilizar.
And the chess is one of the tools that we can use for it.
Por exemplo, neste momento em que estamos em pandemia, as nossas crianças autistas continuam sendo estimuladas através do xadrez online.
Especially during the pandemic, our autistic kids are being stimulated through online chat.
Então, continuam sendo trabalhadas, continuamos utilizando o xadrez como uma ferramenta de inclusão das pessoas através das suas habilidades.
And we keep using this tool so it can be an inclusion and it can be a form of making their abilities become bigger and stronger.
Por isso que estes momentos em que compartilhamos nossas pesquisas,
and that's why this moment where we share our researches and studies,
visibilizamos essas pessoas e tudo que elas têm de potencial.
We can give them voice and show all of their potential as a human.
Partners of the project. This project is a partnership among CBX, Brazilian Confederation, with its headquarters in Santa Maria de Jetibá, Espírito Santo State, and the local government. Thank you for attention.
Thank you for opportunity to make this seminar today. For us, it's very important to clarify the interest of federation and profile for organization or for individual people and to take part in future activities and on the project. And as a next step, we will be willing to conduct seminars for potential tutors, teachers of the kids with autism spectrum disorder. And if we'll see that there is an interest for it, I hope we can organize training courses even during this summer. And some of federation or organization maybe will be able to start program in upcoming school year. I would like one more time to thank all of you for participation, our speakers, and I would like to thank Nadia and Judith who help us to organize all conference, all seminar. And now I give the floor to Judith because we have, I think that we have some questions to answer.
Let's bring in with the first question to Ala. International arbiter Gert from Belarus, or Belgium, sorry about that, asked, why is Belgium 2 times mentioned with different numbers in the list of countries with the lowest autism rates?
I do apologize. It's just a mistake, and the correct rate is in 167.
There's also a question for you again, why there are no South American countries listed in this report.
As I said, it was very difficult for me to collect the data, and not all countries report their data. I even now try to look for Chile, and I was not able to find. As soon as I will be able to find out information, I will share with the participants. But for now, what I share, I was able to find. Unfortunately, no data for South America.
And the last question for you, have you experienced specific differences in your work between those taking medication and those under not under medication?
Yes, I definitely did. But in Canada, parents are not obligated to share with us if a child is on medication or not. And in some cases, we just can guess. And some parents do share. But I definitely say, yes, medication works. And I saw the positive effects of medication.
Thank you so much. Natalia, I have a question for you. Probably you're the best answering this. Since we now live in COVID times, do you think it's possible to have online lessons for children with ASD?
Я скажу, что, по моему мнению, это практически невозможно.
I'd like to say that in my opinion, it is practically impossible.
Потому что дети с расстройством аутистического спектра требуют личного внимания и личного контакта, как бы они не боялись на вас посмотреть, или вы можете или не можете до них дотронуться.
Because children with ASD require personal attention and personal contact, despite the fact that they might be afraid to look at you or they may not let you touch them.
Также очень важно в донесении материала, как я говорила ранее, использовать все виды памяти, в том числе физические упражнения.
Also, when delivering the material, when delivering a presentation, it is important to engage all kinds of memory, including motoric, visual memory, etc.
Поэтому проводить только онлайн занятия будет достаточно проблематично.
Therefore, purely online classes would be rather problematic.
Natalia and Lilith or Anna, this is a question for you. How much time, how many class hours do you need to see positive results?
Ну, давайте сначала отвечу я.
Let me answer first.
Здесь нужно понять, что имеется в виду под положительным результатом.
Here we need to understand what we mean by positive results.
Если это касается шахматных результатов, то здесь все зависит от ребенка.
If we mean positive gaming results, it depends on the child.
Ну, я не говорю, что и от тренера тоже, но в том числе от ребенка и от помощи родителей.
Of course, it depends on the coach as well and on the parents' assistance too.
Поэтому здесь нельзя точно определить время, сколько какому ребенку понадобится, потому что мы имеем дело с расстройством аутистического спектра. У одного проявляются одни возможности, у другого другие. Поэтому насчет шахматных результатов формализировать я что-то не могу.
So it's hard to estimate the exact amount of time a certain child will need to achieve certain results, because children with ASD demonstrate different abilities, different capabilities, and so it is hard to formally assess how much time each of them will need.
Если мы говорим не только о шахматных результатах, но и о развитии самого ребенка, даже я, как не специалист по развитию детей с расстройством аутистического спектра,
if we speak about personal development of a child with ASD, even I myself, not being a specialist in ASD children,
я вижу уже какие-то первые результаты, видела первые результаты где-то в течение первых 3-4 месяцев.
I witnessed the first signs of positive results within the first 3 or 4 months.
Дети, возможно, четче произносили слова.
Children pronounced the words more clearly.
Могли сформулировать свою какую-то мысль.
They were able to formulate their thoughts.
Дети, которые не говорят и очень плохо слышат, плохо различают звуки,
the children that are non-verbal and have problems with hearing,
они уже отвечали на мои какие-то простые вопросы.
They demonstrated the ability to answer simple questions.
В прошлом году многие дети работали только в присутствии своих родителей.
Last year, many children worked only in the presence of their parents.
В этом году только один мальчик работает вместе со своей мамой. Все остальные работают без своих родителей.
Well, this year, most children work without their parents already. Only one boy requires the presence of his mom.
Несколько детей в прошлом году были очень агрессивны.
Last year, several children demonstrated significant aggression.
В этом году уже они, скажем так, менее агрессивны и могут контролировать как-то своего поведения, ну, чуть-чуть.
This year, they have become less aggressive and they show at least some control of their aggressive behavior.
Они стали более усидчивы.
They became more persistent.
То есть, ну, я считаю, что за год даже в поведении они чуть-чуть добавили, и хорошо шахматы на это влияют или еще что-то, но, по крайней мере, поведение их стало гораздо лучше.
So within a year, their behavior and the overall interaction has improved, and I can't tell for sure whether it is chess or something else, but they demonstrate improvements.
Поэтому позитивные результаты есть как в шахматах, так и в поведении. Сколько это времени занимает, я думаю, что у каждого ребенка это индивидуально.
So we do see positive changes, both in terms of chess and in terms of the children's behavior, but time is a very individual thing for each child.
What kind of resources, academic resources, where should one look for academic resources on the topics that was presented today? Maybe some presenters can answer this question.
I can say that there is the main training which people who work with kids with autism should have. It's called Applying Behavior Analysis. And we have in Canada organization which is called Geneva Center for Autism, who does provide this kind of trainings. And there's a lot of training you can take. And you can look online for ABA, Applying Behavior Analysis.
We have an interesting question from International Arbiter. What is the opinion of the international arbiters about the use of an iPod for players with autism during an important chess tournament?
I can try to answer. I saw this question actually, and I said that I need time to think about it. And actually, my belief it's as an international arbiter that during official events we have to follow FIDE rules that there shouldn't be any electronic devices.
Thank you so much, Anastasia. It's hard to make these exceptions, and most often we cannot, and it's breaking our heart we can't accommodate. Unfortunately, FIDE rules are very strict in tournaments, especially in important tournaments. So we have a question. It was mentioned that kids with ASD can have problems with communication in groups or, for instance, in collective sports. Do they feel themselves more comfortable in groups with kids who also have ASD, or is it easier for them to communicate between each other or create relationships? Maybe Ala, you can address this, or
I would say that they feel more comfortable in the familiar environment because they really need to know what's going to happen when it's happened, and when they get comfortable, they will follow the rules and routines. There's a lot of strategies to help them to accommodate themselves, but I wouldn't say it's impossible for them to participate in the other sports, but it depends on the child's abilities also. It's very individual, but you have to work with each child, and then I don't know what else to say.
We have a question to Sandra, Brazilian colleague, specifically asking who's adapted the chess and who decides whose it has to be adapted. I'm guessing it's a general question of rolling out the program and who's doing these programs in Brazil. Sandra, would you be able to address this question?
Bom, aqui no Brasil, eu posso falar, né, do estado do Espírito Santo, especificamente de Santa Maria de Atibá. É uma cidade onde desde 2007...
I can say specifically about my state here in Espírito Santo, and it's a city that since 2007.
E desde 2007, nós temos hoje que se pratica o xadrez, né? Então, nós temos hoje na cidade 3.000 crianças praticando o xadrez. E o xadrez é uma disciplina na escola regular.
And we can say that since 2007, we have 3,000 kids studying chess on the regular school, and we implemented that since that year.
E mais recentemente, o xadrez, então, foi colocado também na escola especial.
And recently, chess education was implemented on the special school, like APAE.
Então, o que nós precisamos hoje fazer aqui é trabalhar com algumas alternativas adaptáveis para promover o xadrez com as crianças especiais.
So we're working to promote alternatives so we can work on this abilities on those special needs.
Então, para cada situação, podemos ter uma ferramenta diferenciada, adaptada para trabalhar o xadrez.
So in which case, we have a different tool to apply this kind of teaching on the chess.
Por isso que no estudo mostrei algumas alternativas, né, para se trabalhar o xadrez com as crianças especiais.
So that's why that in our study, we had the opportunity to show some alternatives to work with this autistic and special needs kids.
Mas acredito que ainda é um começo, né? Podemos ainda fazer muito mais atividades diferentes envolvendo o xadrez e aí, então, promovendo as habilidades dessas crianças.
but I personally believe that it's just the beginning. We can do a lot of things to work on this and promote this inclusion and work on the special needs.
Eu, particularmente, acredito muito no jogo de xadrez como uma ferramenta aí para ser trabalhada com crianças e especialmente com as crianças especiais.
I personally believe that chess is a great tool to work with kids and specifically special needs kids.
Thank you so much, Sandra. Thank you so much, everyone, for attending the seminar. Anastasia will close our seminar.
I just want one more time to thank all of you to be today with us. And I really hope that we will meet very, very soon again. And thank you, Judith, and thank you, Nadia, for being with us today and to help us with all technical things and support. And thank you, Dana, to spend 2 hours with us and to help to implement this project, this first seminar. And I hope to see all of you very soon. Thank you so much.